V8 Utes on the track. I've seen Rihanna Park. I'm going to leave it there.
Dodgy?
No, she can steer okay. Hey, V8 Utes, final race of the weekend, 9 laps ahead. This is the Newline in-car with Elliot Barber, who we caught up with on the grid just before the start of this race. Swapped in the office. Pretty much everybody's changed something. Colours, sponsors, manufacturers, or the team that prepares their car, trying to beat Ryle Harris, who is trying to win the 3rd straight championship and become the first guy. Century Batteries in-car with Jeremy Gray, one of the veterans. He starts P12. The Extreme Performance Clutches in-car with Jesus Racing's Andrew Fisher, car 9, starts P9, so he's got the numbers right for this one. This should be a good one. Craig Donis, Nathan Pretty on second row of the grid. Nathan lost his fastest time in qualifying earlier in the weekend, went from pole to 13th and has been trying to fight back ever since.
Yep, really looking forward to this one, Noons. You guys always put on a good show. So just about ready for a green flag at the back of the field, which will indicate all set for a start. So who's going to get the jump? Will it be Wakefield or Cedars?
Cedars to the left. He's been a winner in V8 Utes so many times. He's won rounds here before. Wayne Wakefield alongside has got... Oh, Nathan Pretty's gone nowhere. Stall on the grid. Now he gets going. Craig Donis will make it 3 wide to the first corner. Oh, he backs out. Smart move. But the two Fords side by side through the centre chicane. Cedars to the lead. Fisher off the curb. Somehow held on to it. It's on already.
Wow, crazy first couple of corners in the Utes, that's for sure. Nathan Pretty really lucky not to get collected after stalling off the line. And Fisher there with a big moment off the curb at turn 2, but it's still going back here a bit further in the pack.
And that's Pretty out wide in that orange and black car in the background. New colours and a new sponsor for him this year. This is on board with Jeremy Gray, right in the middle of the pack where you don't want to be. That's Ryan Hansford up in front, who's one of the guys to swap from Ford to Holden in the off-season, but David Cedars made a great jump. Wayne Wakefield was quick, and Craig Donis was the demon starter. He went right with them, but just had to roll out of it. And just behind is George Maniki. Look at this through turn 8. Right to the wall, and in fact, Wakefield gets the wall on the opening lap. Mediki's down the inside on Dontis. These guys don't play themselves in, do they? It's on from the first corner.
Straight into it, which is great to see. So Donis, he's going to lose a couple of spots out of that manoeuvre by George Medeki. So, yep, McNally got around him as well. So on board with him into turn 11. And McNally, he got the tyre wall on the exit of turn 11 there. Just give it a kiss. Chris Walton with the front locked into the final corner, so it's all going on. Don't know really where to look.
I often look for new business ventures, James, and I reckon that I need to go into a new business of making mirror covers for V8 Utes when they go to street tracks. I reckon I'd make a fortune.
Well, it's not just the street tracks moves, they tear them up all over the place. So
true.
How about you and I go into that venture and we might make a bit of coin on the side, eh?
I reckon we've just told everyone about it, though. There's Nathan Pretty going through. He's back to 20th. Ryle Harris, reigning champ, down the inside. That's for 10th on Stephen White, who's put together a very last-minute deal to get on the grid here this weekend. Kim Jane is next in the queue with Jesse Dixon in the Heyman Reese Commodore.
We're back on board with Jeremy Gray coming through turn 6. Oh, a bit of oversteer there on the exit. So important to get a really good run on to the back straight here. Out of turn 7, these Ute guys up over the curb, running it right out to the wall, and now approaching one of the fastest and hairiest corners in the country, turn 8. No margin for error through here.
And adjusted the mirror on the way in. Great shot. Love this shot hanging off the back deck. Oh, George Elliott back in the category this weekend after a couple of years away.
Now, that looks like it might be at turn 6 or turn 7 noon, so not sure if we'll get a safety car. Replay of the start here, so Nathan Pretty, he'll be filthy at himself for making a mistake like that, but how close were a couple of those cars to collecting the back of that Ute?
There's Jesse Dixon. He made a slow one as well. Look at them all just fire through the gap. They did really well, actually, to have two cars close to one another slow away and no one hit them on the way through. So good stuff from Raw Concern. That's why Fisher was over the curve. He had a little bump with Elliot Barber, who managed to take the spot. But look at Wayne Wakefield. There's a reason why his nickname's Wahoo.
Even Cedars around the outside of him. Look at that, all 4 wheels off the deck. So, yeah, and in the background there, that's a contact with Barber and Fisher very lucky. If he had gone around, that would have been a very messy situation for all the cars following. So somehow they managed to all squeeze through there, Noons. Not quite sure.
David Cedars living up to the nickname there, sideways, as well as it lands off the curb. And there's Fisher in the background. He launches with all 4 off the deck. He's running from the same team as David Cedars, the Cedars racing team, running a range of cars in the V8 Ute category.
How cool are these slow-mo shots, really?
Not if you're the guy who was the one sideways.
Oh, Wayne Wakefield. Maximum commitment through turn 8. Now putting the big block on George Madecki into the hairpin. So Madecki in the I-Seat Commodore, obviously out of the development series last year, Dunlop series, back into the Utes, showing some good speed already this year.
Yeah, did 2 years in the Dunlop series for Matt Stone Racing and the Sonic team as well, but a step back to running in the Utes. And this is the wake-up Warren Millett car. We've seen Warren run previously. Had a test day at Winter just to get his eye back into V8 Utes. Craig Donaghue under fire for position 5. Chris Walton is in on the curb, and they'll race this to the chicane. Oh, hello. Excuse me. Oh, bump. Craig's saying, well, what are you doing, mate?
So Donna's not real happy about that. Side by side. All right, he backs out of it. So gives that spot up to Walton, who was probably a little bit cheeky. Did look like he pushed him up on the curb on the exit coming onto the straight. Maybe not quite enough racing room, but we've sort of come to expect that from Chris Walton. As Harris now up the inside, gets 2 in 1. So great aggressive move by the reigning champion.
And that's Grant Johnson, the former 2-time series champ, coming back to the category this weekend in that number 47 Ford. He used to win in Commodores, but he's turned back up in a Falcon.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say that.
It's a little bit strange to see, because we're just trying to get used to first round of the year. There's always change, but there's been a lot of change in the V8 Ute series during the off-season since we saw them last on the streets of Sydney. But Grant Johnson, just to give you an idea, if you don't follow V8 Ute racing, is one of the all-time greats of this category. He's got a record 14 round wins and 31 race wins. He was an absolute star when he drove full-time in this category, but we haven't seen him since, I think, about the middle of 2012. So just coming back up to speed as he rejoins the series this weekend. Andrew Fisher down the inside on John Wood.
Yeah, certainly great to see Grant Johnson back in the field, having a good quality driver like him in the championship is only going to be good for everybody competing. But one thing for sure with the Utes, although there has been lots of change, they always provide a full grid of cars, which is fantastic to see. However, we did lose a couple early in the weekend.
I was going to say it was full when we got here. We lost 2 on...
Curves, mate. Otherwise we get penalised, mate.
There's the call. Right, so there's a couple of guys who are really running it too fine down here at turn 2. There's a sensor in the road that can monitor when you are jumping through the chicane. Do that too many times and you get in big trouble. Chris Walton is the fastest man on the road. He runs in 4th, but David Cedars leads the way. He's on target for a race and a round win. More Ute racing in just a moment. Down the streets of Adelaide, massive day at the Clipsal 500, and this is a good fight. It's down the tail of the top 10 out front. David Cedars continues to lead the way. Fastest man on the road, though, is Chris Walton. He set a new fastest lap last time around, just a 10th of a second, James Moffat, away from the lap record, so they're creating plenty of pace. These things go a lot faster than when you ran them. I'm not saying you were a slow driver. Technically, though, they've come a long way.
No, they've changed a lot since 2005 when I was in the Utes, and I think they've definitely changed for the better. It's a very, very competitive category now. But certainly Chris Walton, he is flying. He is over half a second quicker than anybody else. But David Cedars, he's got a comfy 2.3 second margin at the moment at the front of the field. But have a look at this action.
Oh,
we've got dramas
Peter
here.
Burnett down at the chicane.
That's a big one, Noons.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to definitely see a safety car.
Can he at least...
Maybe not.
Well, he's going to remove it from where it was. It won't go much further because it's popped the radiator. So he's just got to get it out of the way and at least clear the zone, because that's a dangerous part of the track. We did see, remember, a major crash there back in 2008 with Jack Ellsgood and Matt Kingsley and Craig Donaghue. Here's the replay. I reckon he's hit the tyre bundle here.
Oh, no, he's out of shape.
He's just gone too far in. He's missed the tyre bundle. That's good. But he's losing it.
Oh.
Uh-oh. You know where this is going, don't you?
Either way, it's going to be...
It's going to land with the wheels facing...
It's going to be slow and painful for
still going.
Peter Burnett with this slow-motion camera. Oh, look at this, through the gravel trap.
Airborne.
Plenty of air time.
Can't steer it when the wheels are not on the deck.
Right about now, he's going, oh, God, oh, God.
Oh, now it lands again. It's got gravel rash underneath.
Might have a bit more than gravel rash going inside the car.
Now it flicks back the other way. There's plenty of hand movement going on inside, and it's going to go across to the other side and hit the fence, which for such a big accident like that could have been way worse. Look behind. Ryan Hansford saw it all. And he'll get to the fence on the inside of the road. So for a crash that started at turn 1, it took until turn 3 to finish.
Yep.
Here it is. Boof. Ouch.
Oh, have a look at the coolant come out of it straight away. So busted radiator on impact. And not the way you want to finish your Clipsal 500 weekend for Peter Burnett.
It's like Ghostbusters have been in there with all that coolant spewing out the front. Hansford makes it through and continues on. But that car at least is out of the way from where it had otherwise fallen. David Cedars leads the way. Handy margin, on target to start his championship tilt in perfect style. He's had a lot of pace, he's won a lot of races, but he's been the bridesmaid so many times in this series. This could be the year.
Yeah, he's always just fallen short of the championship, especially the last couple of years with Ryle Harris. But Jesse Dixon now up the inside of Grant Johnson, and it looks like Stephen White trying to follow him through. But big charge from Ryle Harris in this race. He's up to 6th, started 15th after his race 2 dramas, so still plenty of pace left in the reigning champion.
Back on board the Hawkeye in-car with, oh, hello, Graham Stewart's gone around, one of the locals. For so many years, car number 3 has been Gary Baxter. Chucky's no longer racing V8 Utes, one of the veterans of the category, and it's a bit of a change. So we're just trying to get a head around who's who, but Graham Stewart's one of the local drivers. Yokohama replay here. Oh, John Wood gets the wall in the Battery World Commodore. This is back with Craig Donis, position 7. Ryle Harris, P6. Only a couple of laps to go. Slippery surface flag is there.
Oh, look at Harris, he's in the fence.
That's exactly why it was there. Harris gets to the coolant, bumps the fence. Now, how's the steering? How's the suspension? How's the bodywork? He's already failed to finish 1 race this weekend. This could be the worst way possible for the reigning champ to start that drive for 3 titles. Looks okay, doesn't look like it's rubbing a tyre, and steering seems to be okay.
Doesn't look too bad. Perfect opportunity there being on board with Craig Donis. Saw that happen in front of our very eyes, but you've got to say, really bad communication from the team there. The team should have been onto him.
Well, they may have been, and he just went in too hot.
Yeah, well, only I guess Ryle knows what happens there, but look, at this stage, it looks like he's got away with it. Only dropped 1 position, so it could have been a lot worse for him.
The thing that you hope, though, that it hasn't weakened something inside that lets go 2 laps down the road. 1 lap. He's only got a lap and a half to do to finish off this race. Just quickly, while we've got you here, how are things tracking in the Norton Hornet 360 car? You had a couple of dramas yesterday. Yeah,
a little bit of a tough day for us. Not the ideal way to start the year, but look, we've got 250 Ks today. It'll be a tough race, and a few changes overnight. Hopefully we've sharpened her up and we can be a bit further up the front. On board with Andrew Fisher here, having a good old fight. It's hard to know where to look because there's just a good fight going on up and down the V8 Ute field. Bit of a change in livery for Andrew Fisher this year. For so many years he's had black on that car. He's gone a bit gunmetal grey. Here's the replay. Ryle Harris is in the slippery stuff. Bang! And the irony is Peter Burnett is from the Big Gun Racing team that Ryle drives for. Oh, you don't often hit a... The thing that saved him there, Nudes, is he hit the wall exactly square on. So he might have got away with that one, but it'll be a bit of a hard-stopper moment for him, that's for sure. More action through the turn 1 and 2 chicane, so never fails to provide plenty of action that section of the track. That Auto 1 car is Adam Marjoram, who we saw have that big crash on the Gold Coast last year. And oh, look at this, Jared McLeod down the inside of the McMahon Mining Commodore. Nathan Pretty behind. Hasn't really been able to make up ground. That was really strange. I don't know whether he was not in gear or he stalled. It was all a little bit strange on the start of this race. Final lap, it's on here. Elliot Barber trying to get a move on Ryle Harris, and they're lined up. Grant Johnson, Jesse Dixon, Kim Jane. Last lap of the weekend and last chance to make a move. Yeah, so Harris obviously really struggling after that contact with the wall at the exit of turn 3, but have a look at these things move around to turn 8. Look at them just park it up the inside. Barber goes more to the inside. Now, that's all well and good, but you leave yourself open. Look at Johnson trying to fill the gap on Jesse Dixon and then just set him up over the curb. Oh, put him in the fence. Well, sort of carried himself out there, really, didn't he? Put himself in the fence there, but here we go. David Cedars, last corner, last lap. Well He's done. He's going to get the job done. Great start to the year and championship for him. He's commentating himself to the line. Well done, David Cedars. 2 wins for the weekend. He wins the round. Chris Walton did get up to 2nd from 10th on the grid.
And Wayne Wakefield came home in third to finish off a really great weekend. It will go to the line. How about this? Jesse Dixon gets unloaded. It's never over.
Oh, the Ute guys who love them, don't they? They always provide plenty of action. Great entertainment. So, yeah, Roll Harris, he ended up 7th, so just lost the 1 position in that incident. Elliot Barber held on for 9th, and Kim Jane rounded out the top 10.
But it's lost him plenty of points to David Cedars, who banks 131 for the weekend. They have points for qualifying and also for the 3 races, 35 for a win in the Ute Series. Matt Nolan is another one to have some dramas down the final turn.
Oh, gassing it up for the fans. That's one way to finish your race.
Well, make it look good. You'll get to the line in position 22. Let's recap the results from the final race in the opening round of the championship. Fords, 1, 2, 3, Walton and Wakefield. George Medicki, nice welcome back. Reece McNally, consistent as always from Craig Donis. Harris, as we mentioned, made it home in 7th from Grant Johnson. Elliot Barber, P9. And Kim Jane, bit of a quiet achiever in that one from 14th to 10th. Andrew Fisher, Jeremy Gray, Stephen White, Jesse Dixon, all the regular V8 Ute names in there. Nathan Pretty from front of the grid, back to 16th.
Yeah,
that will really hurt.
Disappointed with that.
Yeah, that hurts his championship. Let's have a look at the highlights. If you just joined us and you missed the race, Nathan Pretty went nowhere. When the lights went out, he would fall back in the pack and stay there. Andrew Fisher, first time through the... How's this, lap 1? Oh, Wayne Wakefield right to the fence. Chris Walton was on a bit of a charge and gave Craig Donis a little bit of a helping hand, and Craig didn't really like it. But David Cedars was the man. He built the margin. Peter Burnett, though, got it wrong at the chicane. It eventually found the fence. Bang. He managed to at least get it out of the way. This is not how you treat your Ford Falcon FG V8 Ute.
No, absolutely not. So disappointing way to finish the weekend for Peter Burnett in that number 4 Falcon. So a bit of repair work needed in between rounds for him.
Doesn't get any better. Second time around, third time around, or fourth time around, it's still expensive. Ryan Hansford had a spin down the final corner. He managed to finish back in 23rd. John Wood, he got the fence as well. And Graham Stewart went around all by himself. He finished last, P25, but did a pretty impressive burnout to get going again. David Cedars, though, picked up the win, the margin 4 seconds in the end. And that was a really good final race. Here's how they sit after the first round of the championship. Still pretty tight. Cedars leads the points. Craig Donis and Wayne Wakefield are right in there. Walton's in there. Medicki's in there. But you don't see Ryle Harris. Car number 1 did not finish in the top 10 of the championship. He scored 88 points for the weekend. So he's got a bit of work to do when the V8 Utes continue. 8 rounds again.